Okay, let's talk about timing the market. Another YouTuber out there posted an interesting chart, and I'm going to show you why it was just a little bit misleading. But let's talk about it. So that YouTuber's chart started in January. So if we were to hide everything and then look over at that, it looks like real estate only goes up, right? But if you show everything that happened before it, well, it doesn't always go up, right? If we take a look at 3 years, wow. Okay. So, over a 3 year period, where that chart started was at the bottom. Why did you do that? Think about it. All right. So, the other thing that we're looking at here is the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. That includes everything out to like Maple Ridge all the way up to Whistler, north of the Fraser. So, we're not including Surrey. We're not including Langley, none of that. Okay. Also, keep in mind that YouTuber focuses mostly on City of Vancouver. So let's talk about cherry picking. Let's not talk about cherry picking. I think you guys all get the idea. Let's look at the City of Vancouver. What happened there? Okay, so City of Vancouver. We're talking about buying into troughs, taking a look at instability in the market and whether or not we should hang on. Well, you know what? If you were buying in the City of Vancouver, the bottom came a little later. It was 3 or 4 months later. And that's the current bottom. We're not talking about, what might happen in the future, because if we take a look back a little further here, take a look at 5 years, well, nothing's really coming up. The test here, or the top was, $1 million for everything. Yeah, pretty close. So we'll just call that $1 million. It came up to 974 here in March 2020. And then, it's kind of been a slow decline again. So it's anybody's guess what's going to happen in times going forward. But keep in mind, people, including that YouTuber, have been deferring their mortgages. So when those mortgage deferrals run out, if the income's not replaced and they're not able to catch up on those things, what's going to happen? People are going to start feeling the pressure where they need to sell, unfortunately. And that's just the way that it goes. I mean, buyer beware. If you're trying to time the market, don't try to time the market. Time your finances. When you've got enough to put down a sizable down payment, and you've also got enough to live for a year without having to defer your mortgage, which is probably the best, then maybe you've got enough. $1 million house, you put 20% down, interest rates where they are now, it might cost you $2,700, $3,000 a month. Then if you take that and times that by 12, what's that? 36,000. You got 36,000 in reserves after your down payment. I mean, maybe you can make a go of it if you're employable, right? Maybe you lose your job for 6 months. You're going to eat through that savings pretty quick, but that's. And I'm not a financial advisor, so talk to your financial advisor about your specific situation before buying a house. But certainly, don't let the realtor give you financial advice. They're not going to do it. You might find some that will, but they're not qualified to give you financial advice. They're qualified to sell you a house. And that's, in most cases, that's where it is. They'll tell you we have to go through mortgage courses and we have to learn about fiduciary duty, but realtors are in the news all too often. So you really have to be careful because they don't go to jail. They get fined, they get their license suspended for 3 to 6 months, something like that. But the penalties for realtors that don't act professionally, they're not very stiff. There's not a lot of reason for a realtor not to fleece you. So I'm not saying that all realtors are bad, but just keep a buyer beware because they're not all good. Right. So, just do your due diligence and keep in mind the market doesn't always go up. And if you can't weather a short-term interruption in earnings, then maybe it's not the best time to buy. Maybe you shouldn't be trying to time the market right now. Maybe you should be focusing on growing your net worth before you get an asset that could bring your net worth into the red. Anyways, that's it. This has been Not an Agent.